So I'm going to turn it over to Jen in just a minute to go over beyond the email ask using growth funnels for a comprehensive campaign strategy. I think year-end campaign strategy. I think a lot of these things can be applied towards year-end fundraising. So that's coming on in just a moment. And I wanted to just share a little bit more about what you're in for because Jen is absolutely fantastic. So Jen Newmeyer is the Director of Digital Membership at WHYY. And Jen Newmeyer is a digital fundraising strategist specializing in integrated campaigns and online engagement. Through her groundbreaking work and creative approaches during her 15 plus years tenure, she has raised over 10 million in online revenue for nonprofit organizations. She is a founder of Charity Gen, providing support and resources to nonprofits, and host of Charity Chats, a meetup group aimed at helping professionals solve their most pressing problems. As director of digital membership at Y, she serves on the board of the Association of Fundraising Professionals, the Greater Philadelphia chapter, for any of you in Philly. And Jen is the author of The Insider's Guide to Online Fundraising, Finding Success When Surrounded by Skeptics. You can learn more at charitygen.com. I'm going to put the link in the chat. Check out her amazing books and resources and so many great tools. And I also have another link. Let me see. I think I copied the period and I want you to be able to just click on it right away so you can go to her website. All right. And then there's also this amazing resource we wanted to share on growth funnels as well. And so, Jen, I'm so excited that you are here. And this is so great to have you part of our year-end fundraising fair.
Thank you so much. Can you hear me okay, Candace?
Yeah, we can hear you.
All right, fantastic. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen for the presentation, if that works with everyone.
Absolutely.
I am absolutely delighted to be here. The year-end fundraising can be very stressful. And so I think that this is perfect that we have this fair with last minute tips for everyone. So today, as Candace had said, I'm going to be talking about looking beyond the email ask. So how we can use growth funnels to really create a comprehensive strategy for our year-end campaigns. So today, we're going to look at a typical email. Then we're going to define the growth funnel. Then we're going to go through the process of creating a growth funnel framework, looking at applying that to campaigns. And then we're going to do a fun activity at the end where we're actually going to build a campaign from scratch. So you all can sort of get the feel for how this works when you're putting together your online campaigns. Okay, so let's just first of all take a look at a typical fundraising email. So I'm sure that you all are sending out these wonderful emails. Here's one that we have from WHYY, and it passes the squint test. If you know what that is, if you squint your eyes, the first things that jump right out to you. And here you can see triple your impact for Giving Tuesday. So we have our compelling message, we have a clean design, we have our focal points. We have a matching challenge that is a part of this campaign, nice large donation button. We have our goal. We're talking about our goals for Giving Tuesday, and then we have our impact statements and our testimonials. So this is great. We have our email, we're ready to go. Now let's sort of understand a little bit more about what a growth funnel is and how we would apply that. So really what we're looking at is just defining stages for our audiences. So they're intentional touch points that enhance and strengthen the relationship with the goal of converting our prospects to partners, our longtime partners. That's what we love within our nonprofit organizations. So here is a typical growth funnel. Now, you can actually, you don't have to have 6 levels. I'm using 6 levels for this presentation. You can actually have just 3 levels where you're attracting new members, you're converting them, and then you're stewarding them. But I have found within my work that using 6 steps really helps sort of define all of the activities. But this is what we're looking at essentially is we have our introductory level for our prospects. We're cultivating them, through the stages for acquisition. We might be taking these followers, converting them to volunteers, for example, converting them to donors. That is the value exchange level. And then stewardship, of course, we might be working to convert our donors to sustainers and our sustainers to advocates or ambassadors at the very final level. So that gives you just kind of an idea of how a growth funnel could be structured. And if we take those 6 levels and sort of plop right in the middle our email that we had before at our value exchange level, what we're going to be talking about today is what happens before that email goes out and then what happens afterwards. So how can we make this a really comprehensive journey for our donors? Let's first take a look, because I think that a lot of us are very familiar with what happens after the email goes out. So let's take a look at the stewardship level. So our email goes out. Some of the things we might be thinking about at the stewardship level is looking at our autoresponder. So what is in that autoresponder? How are we sort of creating additional opportunities for people to get involved? Do we have event invitations? Do we have volunteer opportunities, links to surveys? Within the stewardship level, of course, you're going to be sending out your thank you emails, your thank you notes to people who have given. You might even have a thank you gift that you send, a sticker, a pen, some sort of free download. You might even think about different kinds of discounts for events, different offers, maybe even a video from the CEO. So these are all ideas that can happen at that stewardship level. So now let's look at expanding to really strengthen those relationships and turning these donors into ambassadors or advocates. Here are some ideas at this level. So you might have some committees or some clubs where you could, invite some of your donors to be a part of. You might schedule a behind the scenes tour, connecting with folks on social media. You could also utilize testimonials from folks and incorporate them into your campaign toward the beginning of the funnel. We'll talk a little bit about that as well. You might have special reports from the CEO that would go out to really strengthen those relationships, maybe even inviting them to be a volunteer. At WHYY, in public media in general, we have our pledge drives where we invite our volunteers to come in and answer phones for us. So people love that. That is really solidifying that relationship at the ambassador level. Okay, and then for many organizations, this is where these folks might fall into your moves management program. So your major gift officers would start working with these folks and taking them along that journey. But for us, I have a couple of examples of this ambassador, example. I was at a food bank for 10 years when I was in North Carolina and started a social media ambassadors program. So this was really a special opportunity for folks to get involved, and at a very granular level with our campaigns. So these were our ambassadors. They helped us put together this 24-hour telethon. But as you can see, they were a part of the social media for the event. They actually helped plan the event. I utilized them for fundraising efforts, making calls and sending out cards. They had a lot of connections within the community. So we utilized those connections for partnerships for the event. And then, there were some very talented folks within the ambassador group that had video backgrounds. And so they helped us with some of our promo videos. But really, when you're looking at, working with these volunteers or these ambassadors, recognition is key at this level. Here's another example of fan clubs. So at my former role in North Carolina, when I was with the public media station, we had a group that was very passionate about a program called the EastEnders. I don't know if anyone here knows this show. It's a BBC program. It's sort of like a soap opera but it's very gritty and people love it. And so this was a very passionate group of people. They loved this program. And so we really strengthened the relationship with them by creating group events. We would have them come in for screenings. We did costume contests. We did an online auction with them because, of course, it is a program. And so, all of the characters wrote books. They had tea towels. They had, all the tchotchke that comes along with a program that is very popular like this. And so we did an online auction with them. They had a Facebook group, very active, talking about the show every time, a new episode came out. And then we also used some of the folks within the program would make major gifts that we used for challenges. So fundraising challenges and matching challenges. And then, of course, this group, utilizing them for testimonials was great. So there are two ideas of how you can really solidify those relationships at the sort of the stewardship and ambassador section of the growth funnel. So now let's go back to the beginning. So I think a lot of people are very prospecting is difficult, and I think that a lot of people welcome new ideas for how to bring in new prospects into the growth funnel. So at the introductory level, this is where, your website is very important, your blogs, any type of online or print ads. When we're at the cultivation level, we're talking about how to sort of capture more information about these folks. So what I have used in the past, trivia and giveaways, contests or surveys, any participation that they can have with your organization, where they would maybe give you an email address, their name, address, phone number for texting, any type of information captures we're talking about at the cultivation level. And then at the acquisition level, this is where we're really working with our donors through our, email newsletters. We're keeping in touch with them. On social media, posting lots of really great things, about what our organization is doing. These are the kinds of activities that are happening toward the beginning of the funnel. We're establishing the relationship with our donors. So, any kind of, volunteering opportunities, invitations to events. You might also be looking at, if you have a podcast, your subscribers, anything to kind of just build that relationship from, the introduction when you're first, introducing yourself to them, then just keeping in touch with them so that when you are ready, again, for that value exchange level with your email, your audiences are primed. They understand enough about your organization and they're ready to make that gift. So I have some examples of some of these sort of beginning of the funnel activities. Here are examples of some of the trivia and giveaways that we have had at my former organizations. So, the royal wedding was being shown live, and so we took advantage of the fact that this was such a big deal, and we had trivia about the lovely couple. And if you answered the trivia questions, you had a chance to win a Regal swag pack. But you could utilize almost any topic for a poll or a survey. In public media, our topics can be a little bit more lighter. So, this aligns really well. Animal organizations, any, children's organizations that, that have those kinds of interesting, aspects of the work that they do. These trivia and giveaways will work well. But even a survey, even getting feedback from your audiences, if you're thinking about a new program within the community, asking your audiences, about their thoughts on the program, or helping you decide on, like voting on, which program they would like to see within the community, or even, if you have an event and you're going to be giving away a t-shirt, asking them what t-shirt design they would vote for. So any way that you can get that participation is what, you're looking at this cultivation level. So another aspect of prospecting, of course, Google AdWords. I'm sure that you're all aware of the $10,000 a month in advertising with a Google ad grant. But also thinking about paid search. So these two tactics will drive traffic to your website, to your programs, or to your campaigns. Of course, looking at those keywords to, boost your placement for your organization on search. And the great thing about the Google Ad Grant is when you fill out the form, when you register, you will be a Google for Nonprofit partner, and there are some additional YouTube benefits and Google Workspace benefits. So I'm a huge fan of Google AdWords. So if you haven't thought about applying, I highly recommend that you do. It's a great sort of prospecting tool, great way to drive traffic to your activities. Okay, so now that we understand a little bit about the growth funnel and the ideas that sort of, would come with these different levels, let's actually look at creating a framework, how you would go about doing this. So the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to identify the tools and activities we have within our organization. This is sort of like, you're going to be looking across all of your activities within your organization, identifying them. Then we're going to look at aligning them with levels on a mapping process, and then how we actually go about applying them to a journey or a year-end campaign. So like I said before, looking at all of the opportunities that you have to make connections with your audiences and your donors, and making a list, basically. So here are a couple of different categories for these kinds of activities. So first, just identifying your platforms. So your website, your email, your social media, video, if you have podcasts, if you have an app, just really sort of listing all of the platforms that you have available. Maybe even texting would fall into here. But just, sort of mapping, or just sort of listing those out. Then your marketing. What marketing opportunities do you have within your organization? Do you have the ability to, do paid advertising? Do you have a print magazine, perhaps a billboard, or maybe even some posters, TV, radio partnerships that you might have there, maybe even website pop-ups. So anything that falls within the marketing category that you have available to your efforts. Then, of course, your communications. So here's where our direct mail falls in to our communications, our newsletters, our events, any of our acknowledgements. Perhaps you have blog, and then activities. So what kinds of things do you currently do? What kinds of things could you do? Do you have, a volunteering program? Do you have a member benefit program within your organization? Do you have the ability to come up with some ideas for trivia or giveaways? So this is where you're just really kind of doing an audit essentially within your organization of everything you have at your disposal. Then what we do is we map those out, all of those activities within these growth funnel levels. So here is an example of what that might look like. So within your platforms, of course, your website, your social media, introductory videos, they fall towards the beginning of the funnel. Your thank you videos would fall toward the end of the funnel. Your email newsletters, you can't really do those until you actually have an email. So those would fall toward the activities toward the latter end of the growth funnel. But here also is where your thank you emails, your event invitations would fall into the end of the growth funnel. For marketing, your print magazine, your billboard posters, a lot of your marketing tools are going to fall toward the beginning of the growth funnel because you're talking to large groups, large audiences that may not be familiar with your organization. But then there are some things that would fall toward the end of the growth funnel, anything that's like members only content. If there are member recognition videos or spots that you create, those would fall toward the end of the growth funnel. And then, of course, mapping out your communications. Now, you'll see some of these span the entire growth funnel, and events is one of them because you could have events that are open to the public. Anyone can come to them, and so that would be an event toward the beginning of the growth funnel. But you might also have a members only event, a special tour, and that would fall toward the end of the growth funnel. And then you can see, of course, some of these other activities where they fall, based on who is receiving the information about who the activities are created for your trivia, giveaways, and contests, for some of your newer audiences, and then your volunteers, your surveys, member benefits toward the end. So now that we understand where all of these components fall, we can start to build the user journey. And here's an example of a user journey that I created for WHYY that really cultivates our prospects. So we have new folks that are coming into our sort of our ecosphere. They're coming into the beginning of the growth funnel. So we have prospects. They might be signing up for an email, any of our ads, where we're getting that email capture. Then the first step would be perhaps a welcome series. And this is what we have at WHYY. Then within that welcome series, did they engage? Yes or no? If they did, great, they get a benefit. If they didn't, okay, let's try to see if we can engage them through trivia. Didn't engage, let's see if a giveaway will work. Didn't engage, okay. You kind of like think about, that sort of cultivation. What is the right, component that will click with your audiences for them to go into then toward the bottom of this journey, the membership solicitation. This is this might be our year-end campaign, our year-end ask, our email ask, our direct mail ask. Did they donate? Yes, they go into the membership cycle toward the latter end of the growth funnel. No, okay, let's try to do some retargeting. Let's try to get them re-engaged. And so really what you're doing is just thinking through what touch point will happen with your audiences, what action they might take, and then what activity will follow. That is how we are creating our audience journeys. And so let's look at applying this growth funnel and this journey into our fundraising and our engagement campaigns. Let's first look at one that we're all probably very familiar with, Giving Tuesday. So here's a Giving Tuesday email that I had at UNCTV. And of course, you can see, again, that email talking about the goal, the nice big donate button, but what is happening before and what is happening after. So for this campaign, for Giving Tuesday, when we're thinking about those components that would be a part of the introduction, cultivation, and acquisition levels, we're making sure our website landing page looks great. making sure that all of the information that people need to make their decision about the gift is there on the landing page. We're talking about online ads, we're looking at video promotion, we have a matching challenge, we might have some social media involvement. All of these things fall into the activities at the beginning of the funnel. Toward the end of the funnel, thinking about the additional engagement with our donors after they give. Do we have, are we involving ambassadors? Do we ask them to be ambassadors? Is there some community engagement? Is there an event? One other thing that you might think about toward the end of the funnel is user-generated content on social media. So at the beginning of the funnel, you're asking people to post their pictures, their Giving Tuesday pictures, but a great activity, for the end of the funnel to really solidify those relationships with your stewardship activities would be to take those pictures, that user-generated content, and reposting it to your own social platform. And of course, thank you messages like crazy, because we love our donors. So that's how we can expand our Giving Tuesday campaign beyond the email. And then, of course, just to, sort of like click in how this falls on the growth funnel, when we're looking at all of those levels, here is where these items fall. So our website landing page, our social media updates, as I had just talked about for social media, there are activities that are happening for folks at the beginning of the funnel, as well as, using that user-generated content, and that would fall at the end of the funnel. Making sure your donation form looks great, that it's easy for people to give, very important aspect of your campaign. And here's where it falls on the growth funnel. Your social media ads will fall into a couple of different aspects, because you'll be talking to your folks in different ways. So your social ads and your emails to your prospects and non-donors are going to have a little bit of a different tone than the ads and emails that you might be sending to your donors, people who have already given. Your partners, you might be asking them to share your campaign with their networks. So let's take a look at another campaign example. This is an online engagement campaign that I did at WHYY. It was called Ardently Austin. It was a membership experience, and it was based off of the program that we had on our on-demand video platform, Pride and Prejudice. So this was a program that you had to be a member in order to watch it, and that's what we call in public media a passport membership. So we were encouraging new folks to join us, become new passport members. We were reaching out to our lapsed donors with this campaign to entice them to come back to renew their membership. But then also for people who were already members, we were really emphasizing the benefit of membership. So we had some activities for them as well. So the components that we used, we had 6 weeks of email. There was an email that we were sending once a week that did like an overview of each of the episodes. And, along with that, we had some of these sort of bonus content. There was trivia every week. And there was a personality quiz, actually, which was great. We had a giveaway prize box for anyone who participated in that. They had the chance to win the Prize and Prejudice Essentials box. We also had a couple of events. We had a live virtual tour of Jane Austen's house in England. So that was really great for bringing in new prospects, as well as a membership benefit. And we also utilized, of course, our social media. We had a Spotify playlist, and then we had partner offers for our members and discounts to local establishments within Philadelphia. So let's take a look at this campaign on a growth funnel and see, how that all is laid out. So as you can see, very similar activities to Giving Tuesday. So the website, the donation form, the ads, and the emails. But with this campaign, we added our two virtual events that new people or existing partners could participate in. We had our trivia and giveaways that fell at the beginning of the funnel, and then our member offers and the playlist fell at the end of the funnel. So we're going to take a look at another example, our live streaming fundraiser. I know I mentioned this before. This was our 24-hour digital telethon. It was streaming through YouTube. And as you can see, very similar in activities to some of the other campaigns. But here we had interviews with partners, our volunteers and staff. So that's how we had a lot of this, involvement with our folks toward the end of the growth funnel, turning, really working with our ambassadors and partners. We had check presentations, volunteer activities. We had a dunk tank. We had food trucks. We had mascots, giveaways, and prizes. As you can see here, we even had clowns. So our live streaming fundraiser, here is where it falls on the growth funnel. Again, all of the similar activities that we had to the other campaigns, but we also had our in-person events, the live stream, of course, that new people as well as existing folks could watch, our drawings and prizes toward the beginning of the funnel, the match challenge, and volunteers toward the end of the funnel. One more example, just keeping an eye on time, we have our year-end integrated campaign. So, as we're all working on our year-end campaigns, this is one that really was more of a comprehensive campaign and involved more than just digital activities. So with this campaign, we utilized all of those same online components, but we also had we involved our on-air pledge drive within the campaign, our direct mail. We incorporated Giving Tuesday. We had one night that was part of the on-air drive that was called the British Invasion. We featured all British British programs that night. And we also had, people could win the crown jewel box. And they could just, enter to win. So just providing their email address and signing up for our newsletter. Then we had local partnerships with a local hotel and a brewery. And then, of course, utilizing all of the marketing tools that we possibly could, radio, social, on air, spots, and working with partners for that. So this is really a massive effort. So if you're taking your year-end campaign and thinking of incorporating some of your other fundraising channels, this might be how you would go about it. Branding is really the key for this kind of comprehensive campaign. So in all of the channels, we were using the Winter of Discovery. And here is how this massive campaign falls on the growth funnel. So as you can see, very similar activities to all of the campaigns that we had examined already, but we're adding mail, we're adding on-air promotion. And you can see that, added at the bottom of the growth funnel. So our mail to our non-donors has a little bit of a different message than maybe the mail that we're sending to our donors and partners. And that's how that falls on the growth funnel. Okay, so now we're going to go into this build a campaign exercise. We have plenty of time. This is great. So what does building a campaign from scratch look like? So let's say that we are focused on generating revenue through an event. So we first map out all of our, we already have identified all of the components that we have to utilize for our growth funnel. We lay out the growth funnel and then we start plugging things in. So for this sort of revenue event, what are the introductory activities that we're thinking about? Obviously, as we had already seen, website is very important. We need that registration page to look great, to be very streamlined so people can register right away. This introductory level is where we think about our ads, our paid ads. Do we have the ability to do print, TV, radio ads? And then we might, for this kind of campaign, utilize some online event listings through other partnerships that we have within the community. So that would be our introductory level. So now let's think through cultivation. What does that look like? So we have people who are thinking about signing up, how do we get them to sign up? And once they do sign up, how are we sort of cultivating those relationships? So we might use video or blogs talking about the impact of our organization. Here is where you might utilize some testimonials from some of your existing members to really communicate how valuable other people find your organization and the work that you do within the community. We might find partnerships with other podcasters, other reporters, other community organizations to really talk about the importance of this event, why people should join, how it makes a difference. Okay, so now we start thinking about our acquisition aspect. So how, people have signed up, what does the acquisition aspect look like? So we can entice our audiences with behind the scenes content, downloadable resources. We might do some live streams on social media promoting the event. Those would be some of the sort of acquisition tools. This is how we're bringing in these audiences. And then, of course, thinking about the value exchange, yes, our event might have a fee for joining. And so we might capitalize on that by offering, a special like 2-for-1, a ticket offer. That I have here drive-through kits. I was talking to another organization who gave T-shirts to anyone who had registered for their event, but because it was the pandemic, they couldn't, it wasn't like people could come and, they could hand out their T-shirts at their event. So they used drive-through to provide the T-shirt kits to their event attendees. I also have here another really interesting one called Zoom Bombs. So you may have heard of it. There was a wildlife organization in North Carolina I was working with, and they had an owl that could join your Zoom. It would just plug in, and then all of a sudden this owl would just, kind of show up. I've seen others that have like donkeys or different animals, or mascots could, you could utilize a mascot also for Zoom Bombs. Offering autographs from celebrities to really encourage people to register for your event, and then, benefits for getting a ticket. So, you might have a ticket level that has books or additional swag. Okay, so now that, all of your folks have, registered, this could be after the event or even before the event happens. How are we stewarding these folks following that contribution or that registration? Obviously, thank you videos, newsletters, impact materials, added benefits for joining. When we did the Ardently Austin campaign and had the tour of the Jane Austen house in England, we provided, people were really just loved the book recommendations that the executive director was kind of, just randomly sort of mentioning. People were so excited about that we compiled all of those recommendations and sent it out to people who had attended the event as an additional benefit. So the book recommendations from Lizzie in England. And then, of course, at our ambassador level, here's where your special events, or tours could really come into play, offering, the opportunity to volunteer for your organization. And then thinking about those programs or clubs. If you remember the social media ambassador program that I had at the food bank, the EastEnders fan club in North Carolina, just thinking, through what that might look like for people who are really interested in your organization. Could there be a program or club that they would join? So there you go. Hopefully that helps with understanding how to build a campaign, how to utilize a growth funnel. I hope that that gives you lots of ideas for creating your own year-end campaigns. And here are just a few key takeaways from this session. So starting to think beyond just your email ask, what other components can you utilize to create a robust campaign? And I also just want to mention that, you don't have to start off with, sort of these big, huge, efforts. If you're a small organization, just thinking about one or two components at the beginning of the funnel, at the end of the funnel that you can incorporate into your year-end campaign, like that's just building the foundation that you can utilize for future campaigns. So be thinking of that as well. It doesn't have to be this big, huge thing. It can be just a couple of additional activities that really speak to your prospects and your donors and your members. So remember again that the growth funnel model, what you're aiming to do is converting your prospects to donors and then deepening relationships with all of your constituents. Identifying the internal and external tools and activities that can be used for your growth funnel framework will just make it a lot easier. It's almost like, if you go into like a buffet and you have everything there, like a salad bar, you have everything on the salad bar. And so, all of your options, and then you can just pick and choose what you would like to put on your plate. So that's really that aspect of identifying your tools and activities. And then of course, mapping those and really thinking through those user journeys, once they sign up for your email, what kinds of communications come after that? Once they, sign up for your event, what are you doing after that? Just really keeping all of those touch points in mind as you are thinking through your user journeys. So that is all I have for this morning. I know it's a lot. Again, thank you for joining me. I'm delighted to be here. My book is called The Insider's Guide to Online Fundraising. You can get it on Amazon, or you can go to charitygen.com/book. You can buy the book right there, and I will actually autograph it for you and send it to you if you would like. Or like I said before, you can also go to Amazon. Either way, two different ways that you can get my book to learn more about online fundraising. In the book, I not only cover growth funnels, but I really have an entire chapter on creating an ambassadors program. I have 2 chapters on revenue campaigns and a separate chapter on engagement campaigns that really sort of dives into some of those examples that you had seen here in the presentation, more ideas that can be utilized. Now, this book also was written to help folks within the organization understand why digital fundraising is so important. So there are lots of tips about how to, talk to your colleagues, how to break down silos, how to advocate for more resources so that you can start some of these activities. So that's all in my book. So Candace had already given the 2 free guides that I have available for you: free fundraising guide, free growth funnel guide. And I also publish regularly on my blog. So lots of articles there about online fundraising, and connect with me. So I'm on Twitter and Instagram. Also connect with me on LinkedIn. And anytime, if you have any questions, feel free to email me. I love helping people, create, make their campaigns better. You can email me at jen@charitygen.com. So Candace, I'm going to stop sharing so that we can maybe, if there are any questions, I would be happy to answer them.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Jen, this was incredible. This is actually one of my favorite sessions, I think. I'm not allowed to say that, but I'm going to. I loved how comprehensive this was, such great examples. I feel like I came away with ideas. Um, Chad is on my side. I did say one of. They're all my favorites. No, actually all of these sessions have been incredible. I've been really just kind of floored. And this one is definitely one of them as well. So thank you so much for sharing
Yes.
all of your great insights. This has been so valuable. I would just love to open it up to questions. So you can put them in the chat if you want, but I think Q&A is probably the best place so we can kind of keep all the questions in one place, super organized. Jamie asked, any suggestions for startups on how to get volunteers and help in general?
Yeah, sure. So I think that the first step when you're thinking about a volunteer program is to make sure you're very clear on what, like, before you actually start recruiting your volunteers, what do you want them to do? Putting together sort of an outline so that, so that they can clearly understand what their role is going to be, what their, activities are going to be, what the expectation is. So that would be sort of the first step. If you already have that, great. You're ready to recruit your volunteers. Start with your existing donor database. So look through your database, look through those, look for those monthly donors, those people who have been making maybe those one-time gifts year over year, and contact them and ask them if they would like to be a part of, this volunteering opportunity that you have within your organization. That is really the first great place to start. People who are already involved with the organization, asking them if they would like to deepen their relationship with the organization. Now, if you've done that and you're ready to go beyond that and recruit other volunteers, look at your email newsletters. If you have, people who, are a part of your email system, they're getting your emails on a regular basis. You can segment actually people who, regularly open your emails, and send them a special invitation to join your volunteering project, or just start your general marketing. So when we were looking at some of those activities at the beginning of the growth funnel, your introductory aspects of it, utilizing your website, utilizing your social media, utilizing, just general email updates to all of your audiences, letting them know about those volunteer opportunities. You can also think about like special sign up, parties almost, where you would have, like this week only, we're opening it up to everyone to become a volunteer. You make create some excitement around, that having them join. So that would be some of the steps that I would take for starting a new volunteer program. I hope that answers the question.
Yeah, that's
Great.
great. Thanks. And yeah, for startups too, I feel like it's kind of hard if you don't have a huge audience
Mhm.
already. But yeah, I think like a lot of those tips are super helpful. But
Yeah.
even just like starting with your board and asking
Ah,
them to ask people, because
mhm,
like, your board members are involved to a
mhm.
certain extent. I'm sure that they know people as well that are going to be passionate. And it's a really simple but an easy, place to start if you don't have a huge audience just yet, is kind of like peer-to-peer volunteer volunteering
Yes.
almost.
Mhm.
So that's one idea. I'm trying to think. I wanted to see like if you had any other like specific volunteer needs or like things that you needed to get done, because it sounds like you're small, you're starting up. If you haven't heard of it already, there's the Taproot Foundation,
Mhm.
and they pair you with amazing volunteers that can help you get started, potentially fill different roles on a volunteer basis. So you can always check that out as well.
Mhm.
All right, so we have another question. Chad asks, we're in the process of getting folks to update their contact info, making sure we have the current stuff on the database.
Mhm.
So I guess any suggestions for that?
Yeah, so I would imagine that a lot of organizations don't have a member portal where people could easily go and update their information. At WHYY, actually, we don't have that either. We're just starting to put together our member portal where people will be able to log in, update their information, even update their credit cards, change their donation amounts. So that is really the best. I mean, that's the best user experience. But again, a lot of organizations don't have the ability to do that. So I would recommend creating almost a special mini campaign about, like we want to make sure that we have all of our information correct in our system. So this is maybe our accuracy campaign, or I don't know, you could you can make it really fun, and you start rolling out to your audiences that we want to make sure we have your information correct. Direct mail, of course, is always great for this, because you're actually mailing to them and just encouraging them. Please make sure that, we have our information correct in our system. You can put together a very simple Google form if your online donation system doesn't have a really great form for people to submit that. Do Google form, and yes, big things coming. Yes, some sort of campaign that really addresses that you want to, make sure that, everything that we know you, us, we want to know you. We want to make sure that we have this information correct. So any of those other platforms that I had mentioned during my presentation can be used for this kind of campaign. So put together your Google form, or even just email us. A lot of people prefer that, just very easy. Send us an email, with your name, address, what interests you. You could put some little check boxes on there and actually gather more information about them. And if they're going to send in to make sure that you have the correct address and phone number for them, they might even be willing to give you more information about what things they like. We're always trying to collect interests about our audiences so that we can send them, information that really is that they enjoy, that they're interested in. We've been collecting for a while people who really are interested in food shows, food programs. And starting next week, we're actually launching a big campaign on food programs that we have on our on-demand video platform, and it's called The Great Fall Feast. So, but lots of really great ideas. I think that, with any of these kinds of, efforts where you're asking for information from your audiences, if you put it in kind of like a mini engagement campaign and make it really fun and interesting, and time sensitive, I think those are probably the ways that you'll be most successful at those kinds of gathering that kind of information.
Awesome. Great. This is so good. Thank you so much, Jen. This has been incredible just learning from you. I encourage everyone, please go check out Jen's book. I put it in the chat. You can go ahead and order that on Amazon. And yeah, stay in touch with Jen. So many great insights from today's session, and I know you have so much more to share. So how's the new book coming along, by the way? I wanted to
Oh
ask.
gosh, I thought that you were going to ask about that. I have been so busy the past couple of months doing sessions and presentations. I actually not last week, the week before, got back from Indianapolis, my first live conference that I went to.
Oh,
Yeah,
nice.
the AFP had their big AFP leadership conference in Indianapolis. It was great. I mean, there was anxiety, I think, for all of us to get together, but it was really great. But yes, back to the book. So I'm about where I was in the middle of the summer when you asked me before. There hasn't been a lot of movement. It's coming though. I really want to be finished with it by the beginning of next year.
Perfect. Okay, awesome. I'm really excited. I'll keep an eye out for that.
Okay.
As with everything takes more time than we think it does, right? I feel like we're like, oh yeah, even with year-end fundraising, it's like, oh, we'll just put it together, it won't be so great. And then you're in it and you're like, this is a lot of work. There's a lot of things that I have to do here.
Yes.
But it's always good at the end. So I am really excited to see your book, your new book, and for her current book, you can go ahead and order that on Amazon. Someone asked, Jamie asked if it was possible to follow us on social. So Jen, I don't know do you want to link maybe like LinkedIn or something, one of your social media
Mhm.
accounts.
Yes, yes, yes. Let me get
And
to
maybe I'll do that as well. I can go ahead and add in my LinkedIn. It's bad. I'm not really on Twitter. Like you can follow the Cosvox Twitter,
Mhm.
which is
Yes.
just at cosvox.com or just at Cosvox. Um, so that's our Twitter.
Yes, I'm putting
Um,
my Twitter in the chat right now. I am at Charity Jen on Twitter and on Instagram. If you just search Charity Jen, and then also on LinkedIn, I'm just Jen Newmeyer. And let me see. I'll get that link just to make it easy for everyone to join me there.
and yeah,
Yes.
I'm yeah, such great questions. I love the engagement and I love yeah, just kind of taking what we're talking about and distilling it and like making it practical for the specific nonprofits that are here today. So thank you and thank everyone for joining too. This has been so fun so far. We have our last official session, our last I guess ungated session coming up in just a few minutes. So Jen, this has been incredible. Thank you so much for joining and for sharing.
You are very welcome and good luck, everyone, putting together your year-end campaigns. I hope you are all wildly successful. I'll be rooting for you. And yes, and again, if you have any questions, feel free to connect with me. I'm happy to help when I can.
Awesome. All
Okay.
right. Thanks, Jen.
Gotta
Good
run.
luck with all of your writing.
Yes, thank you. I've got to dive right in to try to get this campaign launched for next week. So
Oh, gotcha.
that's my day today.
All right. Thanks for your time.
Okay.
Appreciate
Bye,
it.
everybody.